Tingles with flyby. Hello, my tinglings. Welcome to another top 10 video. Today we'll be talking about my top 10 movies from the 90s. So there is not going to be any crossover with the actual top 10 of my greatest movies or Disney or anything like that. So just a little information so you know if you see something missing that you think is a great movie from the 90s, check out my top 10 movies of all time. It might be there, but these are my top 10 movies of the 90s. And it's interesting how, if you think of the top 10 movies of the 90s, it makes me think differently than if I think, I don't know, just top 10 movies. So it's been an interesting exercise to try, but let's not ramble on and waffle on forever about that. Let's get to the list. Number 10 is As Good as It Gets. Classic Helen Hunt, Jack Nicholson. Very interesting. He's very he's very unique, but very gruff, kind of not rough around the edges. I can't think of a way to describe him, and she's got her son, and just a awkward relationship between them. But then he has, I forget his name. But there's a gay guy and his partner that are also in the movie. But anyway, it's a really touching movie. It's very good. I don't know, some of the lines though, I remember, because he's a real dick, really, you know. And one of the lines that really sells that is, he's a writer, and there's this woman who loves his writing. She says, "Oh, how do you write women so well? You just, do an amazing job." And he says, "I think of a man and I remove all logic and reasoning," and something like that. Anyway, it's a really biting line, and she's just kind of shocked because it's a really dicky thing to say, to one of your fans. But that's what he did. But anyway, so it just got, he is really not likable. But then you have Helen Hunt and the gay guys, and there's the dog. Oh, it's because he's taking care of the dog. And I don't remember the movie that well, but I haven't seen it in a while. I should see it again. Except I also have lots of other movies to see, because on my top 10 movies, everybody put down lots of movies that sounded so good that I haven't seen, so I need to see more. But anyway, so As Good as It Gets, it's just good. That's why it's my number 10. Is Ace Ventura Pet Detective. opening scene to that movie, I don't know if I have ever laughed more, because he's got this package and it says fragile on it, and he's dressed in a delivery uniform, but he's kicking it all around and bashing the box up and doing all this, and because I watched it with my dad and my sister, and I think we were just cracking up so much just watching him destroy this box. It's hilarious. I mean, there are some problems with it because it's kind of transphobic undertones, particularly with the end of the story. And I mean, I didn't really know a lot about that as a kid and that sort of thing. So the movie overall kind of has problems, has issues, but it was the first time I'd ever seen Jim Carrey, and so it's kind of my Jim Carrey movie, and that one scene, though, killed me laughing. Just so hilarious. So funny. One of the best, that's the most I've ever laughed in a movie. So that's why it has to be on my list. So it's number 9. Is Independence Day. The funniest thing with this movie is, so my sister and I don't remember who we saw it with, but both my sister and I saw it. And we were going to do our Christmas shopping. And I wanted to buy Independence Day for her because I was like, oh man, that was such a good movie. I should buy it. So I was going to buy it at Walmart, but I couldn't buy it because somehow it had been marked. Usually if you had a PG-13 movie, you could buy it without an adult, but I needed an adult apparently to buy it. And so I went and got my mom, and she helped buy it. But somehow found out, well, because I had to go get my mom, then both my sister and I kind of guessed that we had bought it for each other because we had both needed our mom to help us buy the movie. And my mom didn't give it away though. She cared more about keeping the secret, I guess, than us having 2 copies of the same movie. So she helped us buy both of them. And we ended up both giving each other Independence Day on Christmas. But Will Smith, so cool, but really even cooler than from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I still really like Will Smith. He was at the Australian Open this year, watching Nick Kyrgios, who I like to watch. I'm a big fan of Nick Kyrgios, actually. And, he was just cool. And that's what Nick Kyrgios was like. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, man. He's watching me, like, that's cool. And he thinks I'm cool. That's cool. So, it's just funny. But, yeah, Will Smith. But, and then, of course, why can't I name his name? Remember his name? My husband is Goldblum. What's his first name? John Goldblum. Josh Goldblum. Goldblum, anyway. Is that his last name? How could it be? My husband is obsessed with him. from Jurassic Park mainly, but he just like, oh, he's such a gun. But yeah, just the clever like virus ideas and, you know, fighting off aliens. I don't know. It's a fun concept for a movie. It's very well executed. It's a good movie. So that's why Independence Day is my number 8. Is Mission Impossible. Just a really fun movie. You got, you know, spies and just, yeah, impossible situations that he's trying to get into, you know, breaking into somewhere using, you know, firemen, firefighters to let you in, and the knock list and the fake knock list, and then, you know, subterfuge and a mole and somebody who's in the group who's against them. It's just a really, really interesting movie. And it was one, I made a list, I think when I was like 10, I made a list of movies that I wanted to buy. And Mission Impossible was like, I want to buy that movie. Twister, I think, was another one, but that didn't make it onto my list. But it was a fun movie. I like Helen Hunt. But yeah, Mission Impossible, it's just fun. It's a fun movie. So that's why it's my number 7. Number 6 is Joe Versus the Volcano. And now that I say that, I feel like I put that in another movie, in another list. Oh well, it's good enough to be on 2 lists. We love that in my family. Now I remember talking about the styling. Maybe it was an honorable mention. It might be in my top 10 movie. It's just so good. It's a real classic with me and my dad. Particularly, we love it. One of the best things though is he has this, at the beginning, he's in this really crappy office. It looks like a basement somewhere. And he's just, you know, stuck in this office. And he brings in this nice little cute little lamp that kind of turns around and plays a little bit of music and just like creates a little bit of solace in this dank, depressing office. So he has his little lamp out, and then his boss comes in and is like, put that lamp away, you know, you're not supposed to have that lamp out, and that sort of thing. It's just like, you can't even have a lamp. Like, it's just such a depressing life. So, you feel really bad for him. But one of my favorite lines from the movie is Joe Banks, main character, he's asking, I don't remember her name, the Meg Ryan character, the third one, the main one, says, do you believe in God? And she says, I believe in myself. And when me and my ex broke up, that was a big, that line really resonated with me. Do you believe in God? I believe in myself. That it was like that the most important, it's kind of, it doesn't really matter if I believe in God or not. The most important thing is that I believe in myself. And I feel that personally with anybody. If you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, you know, that's your own spiritual journey. But the number one important thing is to believe in yourself. Like, you always need to believe in yourself and your ability to affect change in your life and affect change in the world. And also to know what you can't change, but believe in yourself to figure out how to handle even those things that you can't change. So I think it's a great line. One of my favorite lines in all of movie as far as like kind of the philosophical implication. So I love Joe versus the Volcano, a very, very stylish movie. So Joe versus the Volcano, even if we're doubling up, is my number 6. Is Goodfellas. I mean, who doesn't love just a good classic mobster movie? It's got Joe Pesci. He's fun in that. And why can't I remember the names of the other people? Joe Pesci is just sticking in my mind. Which is now making me think that My Cousin Vinny should be an honorable mention as well. Because it's not anywhere on my list. My Cousin Vinny, that's a fun movie. Anyway, we're talking about Goodfellas. It's just really, really well done. Very compelling, well acted, good story. And just, it's the stakes. That's what in mobster or gangster movies, that the stakes are so high. I think that's what makes them so compelling, is that people die. Like, it's your life on the line. So not a way to live, but certainly very engaging to watch and learn about. Even, you know, in a kind of a artsy, inflated, not really that real way, but just to conceptually think about it. Fascinating. Anyway, I won't try and give any spoilers on that movie, but it's good. So that's why Goodfellas is my number 5. Is Good Will Hunting. One of my favorite parts of that movie that always just sticks in my mind is Robin Williams, his character, talking about his wife farting in her sleep. But it's just such a tender memory from him in that movie because his wife has died. But just such a tender memory that, and I just think it's so telling and so just really resonates with me, that it's like, it's those things. That's what you miss, is just those mundane, kind of everyday real things. It's just, you know, you love farting in their sleep, like just something like that. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful detail. But it's a great movie. Just talking about, yeah, I didn't see it in the 90s because it was rated R, which is, you know, so bad to see as a Mormon. So I didn't see it until when I first got together with my love, we saw it because he really liked it. And yeah, it was just a good movie. So that's why it's my number 4. Is Groundhog Day. Such a classic movie, just stuck in a loop, and a loop, and a loop, and a loop, and a loop. And that's, the thing that I love most about it is just, well, it's the symbolism for everyday life and how everything's the same, and how much you can really get done in every day, even if it feels exactly the same. But it's also just that concept of like, man, what would I do if I was just stuck in the same day over and over and over and over again? And what I like is, he's trying to get out of this town, but he can't get out. He's stuck. They won't let him out. And he tries killing himself lots of times, and he still wakes up every morning. And he, then becomes productive with his life. And I think it's kind of symbolic for the journey a lot of us go on as well, thinking about the meaning of life and maybe wanting to be somewhere else, go somewhere else. And at some point, it's not somewhere else that's going to make you change or be different. It's going to be, doing something different in yourself and making different choices. Which sometimes moving somewhere else is a different choice, but more on a smaller micro level. So, very good philosophical movie, but also, just a good watch, especially every Groundhog Day. So, that's why Groundhog Day is my number 3. Number 2 is Reality Bites. Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke. It's kind of got a little bit of a depressing overtone, but that doesn't bother me a lot. I don't mind a little bit of a depressing tone in a movie. It kind of feels very real that way to me, so I don't mind that necessarily. And that movie does have a bit of one. And then you've also got the Ben Stiller character. He does a really good job acting that character. Like, he actually seems like a real person, just kind of stumbling over his words, and it's so well acted by him. And then you have Ethan Hawke. His character is just so cool and acting like unflappable and like nothing matters, but also that, but everything has to have this great depth. He's kind of got these dual natures. But yeah, I don't know, it's just a really well put together movie. You feel like you're almost a part of the group, and yeah, it's a good movie. It's not really about the plot and what happens, it's more about experiencing with them their lives. So, it's a good movie. Highly recommend it. That's why Reality Bites is my number 2. I have 3 honorable mentions from the 90s. One is a movie I just very recently saw called Murder in the First. Just a very bit of a heartbreaking movie. It's not really historically accurate at all. I looked it up. Which is probably, I was thinking about probably putting it on my list, but because of the historical inaccuracies, that pushed it back off my list because it kind of sits me with a little bit of a bad feeling to have it based on a true story, using the real names, but then to be so far from what the actual story is kind of sits with me a little badly. But watching the movie itself, it's a very, very compelling movie. Just interesting concepts confronting humanity and what it means to be human. Talking a lot about solitary confinement and a long period of solitary confinement and what that does. It's a great bit of acting from Kevin Bacon. It's really good. So, also have Sleepless in Seattle. I do like a good Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan movie. And that was probably my original one. I think I saw that one before Joe Versus the Volcano, which made it onto my list. But it's just a fun, classic movie. Just a little romance. Kind of a remake of An Affair to Remember, but they also have clips of An Affair to Remember in there. P.S. Affair to Remember is a horrible movie. The children singing lasts so long. Anyway, that's a side note. And then my last honorable mention is Jurassic Park. Such a groundbreaking film for the time. And just, to see and interact with dinosaurs in that method, just a very engaging, enlightening thought. Something just broadens the mind, and I love that type of thing. So, those are my 3 honorable mentions. So now let's get on to is A Few Good Men. I really like courtroom drama type things. Shows about people going to court and the law, anyway, there was a show I used to watch that was like The Practice. Is that what it was called? I don't remember. And I watched Ally McBeal. Rake is an Australian show. Anyway, I'm talking about TV shows, but I like courtroom drama because courtrooms kind of are today courtroom is where a lot of our morals play out in the gray areas. And it's interesting is it doesn't always end up how you think it should necessarily. So really interesting in that way. But also, just super engaging. So A Few Good Men, though, then takes a military spin on that. And, just, and the, secrets and unveiling a secret and trying to get in and get the story, pushing people's buttons on the stand and that sort of thing. Really good. And you got Demi Moore, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, superstars of 90s acting. So just really, really good movie. So that's, I think, it's not necessarily a movie that I watch over and over again, but when I looked at the list, I was just like, that's the one that stands out and I feel like is the best. So that's why it's got my spot at number 1. So let me know down in the comments what your favorite movies from the 90s were, and if you have seen anything recently from the 90s, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching. I love you all, my tinglings, and I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.